the moment, our consensus candidate to come out with his wife for his acceptance speech, and of course, the handing over of our progressive flag to him to keep progressing.
Well, the political temperature in Ekiti is rising, but not from competition this time. What many expected to be a contest within the ruling All Progressives Congress has ended in what party insiders describe as a consensus and what critics call a coronation. Governor Biodun Oyebanji now stands as the sole APC candidate ahead of the June 2026 election, following the withdrawal of one aspirant and the disqualification of others. It's a political twist that has raised questions about internal democracy, party unity, and the governor's own growing influence in Ekiti politics. Tonight, we go beyond the headlines to examine how this happened, what it means for the party and the state, and what's next as Ekiti weighs 3 years of the Oyebanji administration. Governor Biodun Oyebanji of Ekiti State joins me on Beyond the Headlines. Welcome, Your Excellency. Mr. Governor, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. I want to be sure you can hear me.
Good evening.
Beautiful. A few months ago, the APC in Ekiti had several aspirants in the race. But today, when it mattered most, you emerged as the sole candidate. Some say that happened, or rather what happened today wasn't a primary but a coronation. Tell us what happened behind the scenes. What turned the odds in your favor?
Well, I don't actually know about any odds in my favor. The only thing I know is that I submitted myself to the process and the guidelines of the party. I showed my interest to contest for the governorship of the party, and the party issued guidelines for contestants to contest. And I went through the guideline, I submitted my form, I was screened, and I was ready for contest. I had my group moving around all the wards in the local government and campaigning for the primaries. I'm a Democrat. I believe in contestation because democracy allows people to ventilate their interest. And in accordance with the party guidelines, I appeared before the screening committee, and I was screened, and I went back to the field. And in preparing for the primaries, the party in its own wisdom came out with a decision on those of us that appeared before the screening committee. They cleared 2 of us, myself and Mrs. Omolayo Atinuke. And in Mr. Atinuke's wisdom, he wrote to withdraw from the race, leaving only me in that race. And in accordance with the guidelines of the party and electoral acts, there are still protocols even to be met as a consensus candidate. And the process started on Saturday and ended today. So, and even as a consensus candidate, the guidelines stipulates that the delegates must affirm such choice, whether it's acceptable to them or not. And to God be the glory, all the 885 delegates affirmed yes to the consensus arrangement made by the party.
Mr. Governor, they say your biggest challenger would have been Kayode Ojo, but he was disqualified in what his supporters call controversial circumstances. In fact, they accuse your allies of using petitions to disqualify rivals. How are you managing post-primary reconciliation? He was obviously absent at that event today. Do you think he and others will still join your campaign?
Well, if you listen to my speech, I've expressed my acts of fellowship to all the contestants, not only him, and everyone that has shown interest in this race. And like I said, I wasn't a member of the screening committee, neither was I a member of the appeal committee or a member of the party national working committee. The decision to screen aspirants or to disqualify rests solely with the appropriate organs of the party. I recognize the rights of people to aspire to the office of the governorship of the state. I also recognize the right of the party to ensure that things are done in accordance with the party guidelines and constitution. So only the party is competent to explain why that was done. But as far as I'm concerned, I am using this medium to once again call on Mr. Kayode to join hands with us as we prepare for next year's election. I believe in a united front, and I believe strongly that the more united we are, the surer our chances of winning the election will be. I will be personally reaching out to him, and I also know that the party has an inbuilt mechanism and structure to ensure reconciliation. He is a loyal party man. It's like a brother to me. I think we will resolve the issue. It's not actually a big deal.
There's a video of one other aspirant, Abimbola Olajumoke, who mentioned that you cannot win in 2026. In fact, he alleged that the APC is imposing you on the people and that votes and delegates were bought, even though what happened today wasn't a competition, as it were. She alleged that individuals were given 10,500 naira. How do you respond to those claims of manipulation and imposition?
Well, I think it's an insult on the delegates by any aspirant to make such an allegation. It's ill-informed, it's not factually correct, but I also recognize the right that democracy offers people freedom of expression, but people are entitled to their opinion, not to their facts. Whether we will win in 2026, June 20 is almost here, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. But to the subject matter, the party said that she is not a member of a party, so I don't think I want to respond to her.
There's also the question of political inclusion within your administration, governors. Some party loyalists allege that former PDP elements have captured a significant number of appointments, up to 170 according to one APC chieftain, and they are raising concerns about loyalty and internal democracy. How do you respond to that?
Well, there should be a cut-off line between governance and politics. Immediately I was sworn in as the governor of Ekiti State, October 16, 2022. I became the governor of Ekiti State, not the governor of APC. I recognize the fact that APC offered me the platform to aspire and to run. I also have a duty to ensure that I make APC more attractive to opposition elements. And for us to deliver on our promises, I made a promise that I will look for competent Ekiti indigents wherever they are, either they are a member of APC or member of opposition. As far as I'm concerned, we are all Ekitis. Anybody that adds value to add is welcome, and we have a seat at the table. But that does not mean that we should not patronize loyal party members. We had spaces, enough spaces for party members in our government, and we also have spaces for technocrats, for professionals, those people that can add value and ensure that we deliver on our promises to the people. I have no apology for being inclusive, because that is what a true leader should do. And I'm following the footsteps of Mr. President, who also in his wisdom appointed people that are not members of the APC to his cabinet. What we should be interested in is in delivering on our promises to our people, those that we signed the social contract with, and also ensuring that we have a stable polity by being inclusive. But that does not mean that party members should not be patronized. So we've struck a balance between party members' patronage and also ensuring that we bring all other Ekiti indigents into government. Because on the day of the election, not only party members alone will vote, everybody in the state will vote, and all votes carry equal value. The vote of an APC member has the same value with the vote of a non-APC member. And democracy is a game of number, so the more people we are able to bring into the party, the better for the party chances in winning future elections.
So staying with us, everyone, we have an exclusive with the Ekiti State Governor, Biodun Oyebanji. Thank you for staying the course on the program. I was talking about your ability to have made peace with all your predecessors and unite them in their endorsement of your administration. A lot of people have talked about how did you achieve that, what was the vision behind it. But I also want to raise what your critics are saying. They say with such unity comes a huge cost, that state resources are being deployed to maintain this kind of relationship. How do you draw the line between political inclusion and patronage?
Well, it's so unfortunate that people don't believe that a governor can be at peace with his predecessors without any conditionalities attached. Let me state it clearly that all my association with the former governors is at no cost to the state, and there's no condition precedent to this. I've been at the state level for 11 years before I became governor of Ekiti State, working at different positions. And I worked closely with Governor Adebayo for 4 years. I was his chief of staff. I worked with Governor Fayemi for 7 years as commissioners, as secretary to the state government. And I saw the two of them making critical decisions. I saw them facing the consequences of their actions. I also closely followed Governor Fayose and Governor Shegun, though I wasn't a member of their party. And immediately God gave me this opportunity. I made up my mind that I will not make the mistake they made. And I also discovered that the bane of our development as a state is because of lack of continuity in governance. No peace, no development. I know the criticality of peace to development. So I deliberately make up my mind that I will respect them and I will involve them in whatever I do. So it's just mutual respect for those that have held this office before me. I seek their advice based on their areas of strength, and they too have realized that we need peace to develop the state. So all of them, they are ready anytime I knock on their doors to open and give me advice with respect to governance. There's no patronage attached to this, but because it's something that is not common, in our climate, so people assume that you cannot enjoy a very cordial relationship with your predecessor without any condition. By the way, what do we have in the Ekiti State to give to these former governors? And I'm grateful to God that I have the endorsement of all of them. I'm grateful to them also for opening their doors to assist me. There's none of them that I've ever called and they have denied me access, either to them on phone or going to their houses. So, and the state is benefiting from it. For the past 3 years, the state has been peaceful. Development is happening all over local government. People can now plan their lives. They can sleep with their 2 eyes closed. There's no political tension, no political violence in Ekiti State. Ekiti State is one of the safest states in the country. So the people are happy.
No violence, Governor Oyebanji.
That is what you get when there's mutual respect between the governor and their predecessors.
There were reports of violence at the African Democratic Congress Secretariat recently, and the accusations is that your party's thugs and security agents disrupted their meeting and even burnt the Secretariat. What's your response to those allegations, and how are you ensuring that Ekiti indeed remains politically plural and safe for all parties?
I condemned that action. That is not a tradition in Ekiti State. We tolerate oppositions, but it's not correct that members of my party were responsible for that. I have had a discussion with the police commissioners. They are investigating, and I'm waiting for the outcome of the investigation. And I've told them that whoever is responsible must be picked up, and they must be made to face the music. But I deny, I don't accept the fact that members of my party were involved. APC is a peaceful party. We have nothing to worry about in the state, so there's no basis for my party members to have gone to disrupt the activities. But since the police is investigating, I don't want to comment much on that so that I will not preempt the outcome of the investigation. But I condemn it.
Let's talk governance now. It's been 3 years since you took office. You've had rising federal allocations. In fact, you mentioned that. What do you have in Ekiti to give former governors? And that's a big issue because, you know, Ekiti under you should move from being a civil service state. You have reported certain investments in roads, in schools, and hospitals. But critics still argue that the pace of development as we know it today in Ekiti doesn't yet match the size of revenue inflow. And I want us to begin with roads because, as you are aware, that's what many people have started talking about with the viral videos online. Your government has reportedly spent over 130 billion naira on road projects in 1 year. But what's the plans for critical federal roads that have been a talking point for frustrated Nigerians who intend to access Ekiti? Roads like the Erio to Aramoko remain in poor condition. What are you doing when federal intervention appears to be slow?
Well, thank you so much. Federal intervention is not slow. And in the Ekiti state, there are 6 federal roads. The federal government is working actively on 3 of them. As we speak now, the federal government is working on Akure, Ikere, Ado Road. The contractor is on site. As I speak now, the federal government is working on Ado Ija Ilumoba Road. The contractor is on site. The state government on its own have reactivated and repaired 20-kilometer Ado Ifaki Road. So if out of 6 roads, 3 have been worked on, 1 has been completely done, I think the federal government deserves kudos. I must just tell, like you said they are critics, and so they have to criticize, and I have no problem with that. But we must also realize the fact that it's not possible for the federal government to solve all the issues, all the problems in the country in less than 2 years. The federal government deserves commendation. Even the Aramoko Itaure Road that we mentioned, as we speak now, work is ongoing, courtesy of the leader of the Senate, Senator Pemba, who is undertaking the remedial work on that road. So it's not fair for anybody to weaponize the condition of just one road to assess the interventions of the federal government in the Ekiti state. The federal government has done a lot for us. That is for the federal government. As for the state government, I think in this year alone... just
for a minute, if I can, I understand your political position and your position on what the federal government has done, but are you satisfied? Are you comfortable with the current state of roads that lead into your state as a government who is interested in attracting investment and also following the experience that many Nigerians have had accessing Ekiti state?
It's not a question of satisfaction, it's a question of being realistic. And I don't want us to play politics with it. I'm realistic to the point to know that it's not possible for all this road to be fixed in 2 years. But the federal government has demonstrated good faith by working actively on 2, and the state has repaired 1 completely. So it's a work in progress. We will be dealing with it bit by bit, you know. And those are not the Aramoko Road is not the only access to Ekiti. There are other alternative roads that people can take while remedial work is going on that road. We will continue to engage with the federal government, but the truth of the matter is the federal government cannot, and I repeat, cannot do these jobs in 2 years. They must be commended for what they are doing. So it's not a question of being satisfied or not. I'm realistic enough to know that it's not possible for the federal government to fix all the federal roads in Ekiti state in 2 years.
All right. We have to go now, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on the current state of inflation in Ekiti. Ekiti has consistently topped Nigeria's inflation chart in recent months. 28.2% in August, 26.68% food inflation in September. And these figures are according to the NBS. What's really driving this surge, especially since the pressure seems to come more from, housing, transport, electricity, and food? Ekiti is supposed to produce its own food. Why is food expensive in Ekiti?
No, food is not part of the trigger. It's because we disaggregated that figure. Food is not part of it. In fact, we have the lowest food inflation. But when it comes to housing and transportation, and not food items. That is what is triggering the inflation. And they were in the process of engaging with our transporters, because most of them are transport-based. Because most of these products are not produced in Ekiti State, so they have to be brought in from other states. So as long as you have issues with transportation, with roads, with cost of fuel, it will go up. But when it comes to food inflation, we have one of the lowest food inflation in the Southwest and in the country. But the non-food elements like housing, like transports, like beverages, yes, is high, and we continue to, because in fairness, manufacturers also have to look at the cost of production, and they have to put a margin to make profit. But I know that the economy has turned the corner. With time, all these things will be addressed. Now,
perhaps when federal government eventually fix these roads, those numbers will drop, Mr. Governor. Do you agree?
What do you say?
I said perhaps when the federal government eventually fix these roads, these federal roads we're talking about, perhaps it will drive the numbers down.
Definitely.
All right. Good place to leave it. Governor Biodun Oyebanji of Ekiti State, thank you so much for talking to us. Hopefully we can continue this conversation subsequently.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
That's our show today, everyone. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again soon.